Yo, what's poppin'? Welcome to Bhroman Braapsody. This is where we review cars, motorcycles, do road trips, do a bunch of fun stuff. This is a 2022 Kawasaki KLR 650 Adventure. In today's episode, we're gonna talk about the bike. We're gonna see some of its features. I'll take it out on the road, share my thoughts with you guys, talk about the cost of ownership, and assign it a Bhroman score. But before we do any of that, if you're new to Bhroman, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. We put out content every week, and your support would mean a lot. Come on, just do it, man. It's me, it's your boy Bro, and I am your Bhroman. Kawasaki started making the KLRs, I think, in 1978. It was just a 600, and then a couple of years later, they changed it to a 650. You had a thumper, a 650cc single cylinder, and it doesn't have a whole lot of electronics. And it stayed that way till about 2018, I think, is when they finally killed the KLR. Now, they came back with the KLR 650 in 2022. They made a few changes to it. It's now fuel injected, and the exhaust is now Euro 5 compliant. It still has a 652cc single cylinder, which puts out about 37 horses, 36 foot-pound of torque, somewhere in that range, so not overly powerful, but you get LED headlamps, and they extended the wheelbase a little bit, so now it's a 60-inch wheelbase. It weighs about 480, 490 pounds. With the Adventure, you get a USB power outlet here. Yeah, this bike they kind of kept it simple, like even the windshield. You can change it to two positions, but to do that you need Allen keys and change and do all that stuff. Yeah, and also for the new 2022 onwards model years, you get a larger disc brake up front and a thicker single disc back in the back. It's simple, it's cheap, it's easy to maintain. What else would you want, right? So that's basically what this bike is. It's supposed to be a whole lot of fun because people all around the world have been taking this bike and doing crazy things. But that's about the bike. Now let's walk around and look at some of the features, shall we? In the front, you get LED headlamps and LED driving lights, that adjustable windshield. You can adjust it using Allen keys and it goes up a couple of spots. Looking down, it's got that beak, what I like to call the beak, to stop debris from kicking up and hitting your windshield and messing up with your headlights and whatnot. And it's got really skinny tires and spoke wheels. Looking at it from the side, there you go, that's a 300 millimeter single disc with, I think it's a 2-piston brake caliper. And this bike, they increased the rake angle on this bike. So this now has a 30-degree rake angle. What's a rake angle, you ask? Well, draw perpendicular from the steering mount. Follow the foretube. That's your rake angle. Shorter the rake angle, the more nimble the bike is, and larger the rake angle, the more it is stable at higher speeds, highway speeds, and such. Cruisers tend to be closer to 30, and that's what this is trying to do, 30. At the heart of this motorcycle is that single-cylinder 652cc engine that puts out 37 horses, 36 foot-pound of torque, something along those lines. And then they've made a few changes. You see that foot peg there, that's rubber mounted, so to give you better grip and to dampen some vibration if that was the case. And since this is an adventure model, it comes with the saddlebags, and we'll look at the saddlebags in a little bit. But look at the rear tire. Looks skinny, but it's kind of knobby, and then you have the single disc over there, and that's what they've extended the swing arm by about 1.5 inches or so. Oh, and look, it also comes standard. It also comes standard with a skid plate. In the rear, you also have this mount, or the platform where you can mount a top case. If you bought one, or if you had one, whatever, you could mount it here, so you could have a top case along with the saddlebags.
There's a toolkit inside, so you put the key, turn it, and boom, you have a little storage space, toolkit, registration, all that fun stuff. That's neat. That's really cool.
Now I told you that this bike has saddlebags. There's a little key, like a little keyhole here for lock and unlock. You gotta change it to unlock, move it to unlock. Then there's a little release button here. Pull that, and then you can open this puppy right up. And once you look inside the saddlebag, this is pretty narrow. It's a pretty narrow saddlebag to keep the profile of the bike narrow. But this is pretty spacious. Like, you can fill in quite a good amount of stuff in here. 1 for the helmet though, sadly. And then to close it, just boom, and then just lock it. Now, these are quick release saddlebags. There's a little lever here. You can push this in, and then the saddlebag comes right off. That's the seat. You can see it's wider at the back, and it kind of narrows down towards the front, or tapers down towards the front to give somewhat of a comfier seat. And yeah, this is not an expensive bike, so it doesn't feel like it's a super premium seat or anything, but hey, for its price, it's pretty good. And then you have the big 6.5 gallon fuel tank, and this is now, since it's fuel injected, there's a pump right underneath there somewhere, so yeah, you can get 6.5 gallons in here. Handlebar controls on your left hand side are pretty much high beam, low beam, turn signals, and horn. Nothing fancy, nothing fancy. And then you have the roundy mirrors. I like roundy mirrors, man, I really do. Handlebar controls on the right are the kill switch and the start. Nothing fancy. And you also have the little hand guards and no adjustable levers. Let's take a look at the cockpit, what I like to call the cockpit on motorcycles. So since this is the adventure model, you have a little USB outlet here, so you can pull that out, and there's an USB outlet inside, 12-volt power outlet on the other side, buttons for your driving lights, and then there's your beautiful dash. So let's look at the dash. This does not have keyless ignition, that's the key. So put it in and turn her on. Boom. That's a pretty standard dashboard here. You get your fuel gauge, warning lights on the side like neutral, turn signals, high beams, all that. You get your clock, your speedometer, which gear you're on, and your odometer. And I think you can you toggle through this? Nope. Maybe this? Oh yeah, you have trip A, trip B, and your odometer. So that's all you get. How's the seating position on this bike, right? Well, this has a 34-inch seat height. I'm about 5'10" with a 31-inch inseam. I can flat-foot it pretty easily. Now I am on a driveway, so I'm on a little bit of a decline here. My arms are resting quite easily. The seat is a little narrow, but it doesn't feel too uncomfortable. And the tank here, oh man, it feels so narrow. Well, it seems like a nice, comfortable riding position. So as you can see, the theme of the bike is being very simple, being very basic, and being utilitarian. Since we've taken a look around the bike, seen some of its features, do you guys happen to know what time it is? It's right o'clock, man. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Says let's make a couple of U-turns and see how this puppy maneuvers. Before we do that, just check this out, man. The handlebar turns in all the way on both sides. I'm thinking U-turn should be quite easy on this. Yeah, boy. Oh my god. In such a tight radius, that too. Wow. Wow. Really easy. Really easy. Which means it's time for a second test. The pull test. Now, this does not have any riding mode or sport mode, so we'll just go and see. Let's go. Let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go. Yeah, definitely being quick isn't its forte. No. I mean, it's fun because it yells and it's like wah, wah. So, first impressions on this motorcycle. Well, we are sitting up quite upright. I'm sitting up quite upright. My handlebars are nice, the hands are relaxed, my legs are super comfy, they're not bent in a weird way. And the tank feels really narrow, man. It looks wide, but it feels narrow. Oh look, stop sign, front brakes only, let's check it out. Yeah. Not a lot of bite, it's a single disc up front. So yeah, there's that. And that thumper, man. Oh, nice. You know, I like bikes with a character, and this engine has character, man. It's like, oh. I mean, you're not going really fast or anything, but it just sounds like it is working so hard. I mean, like I said, it doesn't go super fast or anything, but the suspension so far feels nice, man. It eats up bumps without without a lot of drama around it. Man, it's a beautiful day. Temperatures like in the low 60s. This is perfect. How's the wind protection on this bike? Well, you see this little windshield that it's got. And yeah, as for the lowers, man, it's doing a pretty good job on the lowers. Like, I'm not getting a lot of wind on my legs or on my feet. I am getting a fair amount of wind in my shoulders and on my arms and stuff, but not on like, this is doing a pretty good job of stopping wind from like my chest and torso. And yeah, so this is surprising, quite good wind protection. And today is a nicer day, so the wind isn't really bothering me that much. And I was expecting going around corners to be a pain, but no, it's actually not too bad. So this doesn't have a whole lot of top end horsepower, but it's got a good amount of torque, and that torque kind of carries you through. One thing I forgot to mention during the walk around is that the adventure model comes with ABS. Now the ABS isn't the one that you can switch on and off, so it's not the switchable ABS, so it stays on the whole time. And that's not a very bad thing. Like, I get it, like when you're going off-road it might be like having ABS on when you're going off-road is not the best, but on road, especially if you're riding through rain and tricky conditions, ABS is a good thing to have. So the bike likes these big sweeping corners. Like, once you pick a line, it's happy to stay on it. I am very, very pleasantly surprised. I am very pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting to be having as much fun as I'm having. I mean, the seat, like I said when I was doing the walk around, the seat isn't the most premium of seats, but it's not bad, man. It's not uncomfortable at all. Like, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good seat, man, for what the bike is. And keep in mind, so this is not trying to compete with the BMW GS's or the Ducati Multistradas or the Triumph Tigers, the Harley Pan America. No, it's not. This is not a big adventure touring bike. This is like a compact, light adventure touring bike. Maybe a middleweight even. So, and at the price point of less than 10,000, dang, that's like cheaper than pretty much every other adventure bike out there. Alright, coming up to another stop sign. Let's go. So if you use both brakes, it's pretty good. Just the front brake doesn't have all that much bite. So I'm 5'10", 31-inch inseam. Flat footing it, quite easy. No problemo. No problemo. And check out the mirrors, man. Nice roundy mirrors. You can see a lot that's going on behind you. Like I said, they don't feel super premium, but hey, they get the job done. And that's what this bike is all about, is getting the job done. That's it. As for the balance of this bike, it feels pretty stable at normal speeds. It really does. It's got really skinny tires, but the balance feels pretty good. Let's check this out. Yep, no hands. Pretty good. Yeah, and it does not feel top heavy, which was surprising to me. When I look at these tall bikes, I'm always under the impression that they're going to be top heavy, but nope. The one thing I noticed that we don't get on this bike is a tachometer. So I really don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a tachometer, but hey, you just have to listen to the sound of the engine and the exhaust and kind of figure out what you're doing. Like, this is what I like about this bike. It's simple, it's light, it doesn't have a whole lot of electronics and sophistication going on for it. But what it's got is just, in its simplicity, it's fun. The more we keep things simple, the more enjoyable it gets. Alright, so we still have to answer a few questions, don't we? So, is this a good bike for commuting? Yes, I think it is. It's light, it's It's got saddlebags, so you can put your work laptop and your work stuff in it. And it gives great fuel mileage, fuel economy. You get what, 48 miles per gallon, and with a 6.5 gallon fuel tank, that's a lot, man. I think people have tested it and they've got close to 300 miles to a full tank, so that's pretty incredible. So commuting on this bike should be no issue. And if you live in a state like California where you can lane split, yeah, this is a narrow bike. You can split away all day and all night. Bike for touring. Well, I've seen people tour on bikes like these a lot. So I guess, yeah, you could tour. I mean, it's got saddlebags, you can put a top case, the seat is quite comfy, it's got decent wind protection, great fuel economy, and you know, it can do highway speeds. Now, I don't know how it's gonna fare with crosswinds and wind buffeting around big semis and stuff like that. But I guess you could go touring. Like, personally, if I had to go touring on a bike like this, I would avoid interstates. I'd take back roads, state highways and things like that. It's more fun on these roads than on a highway on smaller bikes. On bigger bikes, yeah, it doesn't matter. You can just chug along. But yeah, I think it'd be okay to be touring on this bike. It wouldn't be my first choice, but it could still be good enough for touring. Beginners. Well, yeah, I think this is one of those bikes which is light and it's cheap and it's not super powerful. It's cheap to maintain, cheap to buy, and you're still gonna have fun. You're still gonna learn the basics of motorcycling if you're brand new to it. Using the clutch, using the brake, using the gas, leaning in and all that. Yeah. Now this is a taller bike, so maybe not the best bike for shorter people, but you can still have a lot of fun with it. And this is one of those bikes where it's great for beginners, but it's also good for experienced riders, because you know, you can still throw it around and have some fun and get some joy out of it. But what about the cost of ownership, bro, man? What about the cost of ownership? In conclusion, this is the KLR 650, man. The 2022 KLR 650 Adventure, to be precise. You're supposed to be able to take it off-road, have some fun with it, cover some distances or whatever. And yeah, I mean, the wind protection is pretty decent. You get saddlebags, the ride is quite comfortable, the seating ergonomics and seating position is pretty good. I've been riding, and as for the seat, I've been riding it for about 45 minutes or so now, and my butt is starting to feel it. So yeah, it doesn't have the most comfortable of seats, but it's, again, that's not what you'd expect at something at this price point. 8,000 brand new. So this is a cool little bike. It's great for commuting. You can tour on it a little bit, I guess. I personally wouldn't take this on interstates, but I know a lot of people do. I'd love to take it on state highways and back roads and enjoy it, and maybe even take it off-road. I didn't get a chance to do it, and yeah, it's great for beginners and experienced riders. So it's one of those bikes that's docile enough to be great for beginners and still fun enough for someone who's a little more experienced. Well, thanks for watching, you guys. Keep your knees in the breeze, and I'll see you soon. Bro out.